Hello everyone, in this video we'll be looking at what will happen to US dominance post the war that is going on currently between US, Israel and Iran. So Israel are on one side and Iran is on the other side. So what is going to happen to US dominance? Now to look at it, we'll consider these factors. First is the bond market, because all the money in the US market is most of it around 9 to the US market has a GDP of around $34 trillion and has a debt of around $37 trillion, and out of this debt around 9 to 10 trillion dollars are borrowed. Like the US government will take out certain bond options, and here come other countries, they will buy it. Like they will buy dollars with their yen or rupees, and they can also buy it in pounds, other currencies, and then this dollar is invested in this bond. It's like getting a policy, like you get a policy from your bank, an investment plan. It's an investment plan. It has periods, like it has a lock-in period of 5 years or 7 years, and the US government promises them a rate of return, which is the repo rate, right? They can increase it or decrease it. It is currently at 4.5 or 4%. I don't actually remember. So this is locked in for this period, right? So one is the bond market, and then we're going to look at the interest rate. That was the interest rate that I mentioned. Then there is the question of dollar alternative, right? For the see, the bond market completely depends on the dollar. So if the dollar is played around with, if the demand for dollar decreases, then the bond market people will stop putting money into these bonds, right? So they have to take care of it. They have to maintain that dollar is the strongest currency available. And then we'll look at what is going to happen with the alliances. Most probably the NATO, most importantly the NATO alliances, and then we'll collectively look at the image of invincibility. And this is one of the most psychological things that the US controls. All right, for the bond market, I just casually explained it. I'll explain it furthermore. Now see this, one second. Yeah, so this is the list of countries that hold the US Treasury bonds, right? See, Japan is the maximum, 1134.5 trillion billion dollars. That's 1.1 trillion dollars approximately. We'll note it down. Japan, 1.1 trillion dollars, right? Then the person of interest is the third one, China, is also a little bit mischievous, but we'll try to connect it with the US, Israel and Iran war. Like, what are the direct implications? China could be playing something in the back room, but we focus on the Middle East and the countries that are directly affected by it. So see, what are the countries that are present in the Strait of Hormuz, near Iran's vicinity, that Iran is continuously attacking? You'll find Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. These two countries collectively hold, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It has around $133 billion, right? And then UAE, which has $2 billion, right? So just focus on these three countries. Other countries are obviously affected by the war, and with these three countries, you'll get the gist how. Now, see, these countries, Japan has a separate arrangement with USA, and these two countries have a separate arrangement with USA. Now, what is the arrangement? This is the easiest one, the petrodollar agreement. That was what US promised the Middle East. Like, they wanted all the Middle Eastern countries to sell petrol in dollars, and in uh, exchange of that, they will be provided security and, most importantly, the investment opportunity in US markets. As US markets were growing, the only thing that was growing at a rapid pace, because all the major companies are there in the US, right? So what is happening right now? Because of the war in the Strait of Hormuz, because of the war in the Strait of Hormuz, Iran has attacked UAE, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, everyone, right? And other countries. And what is common between all these countries is all the countries were promised by USA that USA will protect them. It has their bases, military bases, air bases. It has radars. It has a fleet in the ocean to protect them. But Iran has destroyed their bases, is attacking their radars, and because of danger to the fleet has already moved away from the Strait of Hormuz. So these countries see the promises hold are no good. So these countries are going to get a feeling that US does not stand on its promises. So what they are going to do, since the Hormuz is blocked and Iran is threatening to blow up the ships, they are also not able to sell their oil like as much as they would like to, and also their oil facilities are continuously being bombarded by Iran. So this is going to affect their the money in their hands, right? So this is also going to stop the bond inflow. Like this year they are going to buy less bonds. They might even liquidate to repair the damages, or like get the money back into their system because they need it, because there's a war going on. They are currently taking a lot of damage. They have taken a lot of hit in their economy, so this bond market is a threat. Now what about Japan? Japan is the major holder of it. Now you see, Japan's economy is a little bit different than every other economy. How? Because Japan has developed a lot before other countries. So what did Japan? It grew at a rapid pace, and the result of that is there are a lot of huge corporations in Japan. If you watch any documentary on Japan's economy, you will know that. The one point that everyone knows is the average age is very high, right? It is currently facing a shortage of young people. And then other is the overworked population, right? And then another is the interest rates are very low, which has changed in the recent times. It has gone up. Okay, so why is that? Because Japan's economy is kind of like a ghost economy, right? Ghost economy. What it does, like there are people, there are companies that get money from the government and then they pay salaries, and they earn a marginal profit, and that is mostly because they invest in these bonds, right? They get that interest. So this is how most of the companies are run in Japan. Now what happens when the oil prices starts to rise? Japan imports around 80 to 90% of its oil from Hormuz, right? So if this oil prices are rising rapidly, so these companies will be more hard to run. So what will happen? These companies will shut down, right? These companies will shut down and these salaries will go away. Now what happens when a lot of population does not have their salaries? A lot of companies have gone bust and the oil prices are over the roof. The only thing Japan can do is take its money out, because this is its money and it's sitting in the US banks, US bond market, and it's coming to be matured. The maturity date is coming, so they are going to take out, and this is a huge hit. As you see, the US GDP is around 34 trillion. There's 1.1 trillion, and another trillion if you calculate other countries like all that I mentioned, Bahrain, whose hold lower than this, but they also hold a significant amount. And this is also going to trigger a fall in the bond prices, right? Like if a lot of these countries sell, it's going to trigger a sell-off in the bond market as well. There are other countries, the UK, the India, even China. China has been waiting for something like this, right? So they are also going to reduce their holdings, right? Their holdings, and it's going to straight away affect the dollar index, right? Dollar index. And this is just one of the case, the bond market, and this is already like a drastic scenario for USA. Then we'll go to the next point, which is the dollar alternative. Now recently you must have heard that Iran has announced that it will take payments, oil payments, in yuan. Yuan is the Chinese currency, right? And it will also let those ships pass through the strait, through the blockade, those who pay in yuan. Like if you are India and you bought oil from let's say UAE, and you paid in dollars, right, which is the standard agreement, you cannot pass. Now in place of dollars, if you paid in yuan, you can pass, of course for a fee, but that is different. But you can pass, like you can get that oil. So people in desperate countries will do this. They don't have time to like figure out what is going to be the outcome of the war, and they are going to pay in yuan and get their oil, and they're going to run their country, right? So this will completely destroy the narrative that you only get oil with dollars. Like oil is no longer equal to dollar. Oil can be anything. Oil can be yuan, oil can be the Russian ruble, oil can be anything. So this is what is the most the dollar was built on this promise that oil will be available in dollars, but once that takes a hit, this is no longer viable. So the dollar alternate is already currently in the market. Now let's go to the more psychological aspects of it. These are going to the first 2 points are going to straightly affect the money power of the US. Now these two are the subtle changes that are going to shape the future, right? Alliances. Now most of the NATO countries had protection. They had preferential treatment, And this has changed. Like Trump has, because of the Greenland issue, Trump has straight away threatened a NATO country. Trump did not come to the rescue of Ukraine, like to the extent that Ukrainians wanted. Trump stopped funding to NATO, right? So these all have taken a toll on the NATO countries. Like they no longer trust the US to the extent that they used to trust, right? So this has taken a hit. Most of the NATO countries have rejected Trump's offer to come to the Strait of Hormuz. Like Japan has straight away rejected it. UK is considering it, but it's not very excited about it. Australia has denied it. Spain has uh, actually condemned the attacks on Iran, and these are NATO countries, powerful NATO allies, and they have said that. So this is gone. Now, this will take a hit for sure. Like it has to be rebuilt. The relationship is not as it was, as it has been for a bigger chunk of the history. But the fourth point is actually a combination of all these 3 points. Now, US was termed to be invincible by every country. Like you could be from any country, and in your history class, you would have learned about the World War One, World War Two. You would have been told that it was won by the Allies because US decided to join the war. Everything, and that was true, and that was a different time. Nowadays, the wars dynamics have changed. Now what happens is US is no longer capable of single-handedly winning a war. Like it can jump in and capture a president like it did in Venezuela. But in case of Iran, Iran does not have nuclear weapons. Iran simply has a lot of missile stockpiles, and they don't need a nuclear weapon, right? They don't need a nuclear weapon. This is enough. Like what they do, like if you attack us, like Iran and US, even if US is a very powerful country and Iran is very less powerful, still it can just keep on attacking US assets. It cannot directly attack the US mainland. It has a lot of assets. Like in Iran, a lot of US bases are present everywhere, in Saudi, in Qatar, in Bahrain. So Iran attacks them, and it causes a lot of loss in property and in damages. So what it does, it can keep on doing that. You cannot destroy a whole country. Even if you drop a nuclear bomb over here, you destroy a part of it, right? You have to drop multiple bombs, and you have to completely deplete your arsenal to completely wipe off a country, and that is not possible, right? So Iran can go on damaging everything. They can kill a lot of people over there. They can disrupt the oil prices. So it's completely like nonsense to believe that Iran will completely lose this war. It will back off. That is not happening. Iran will die, and it will keep showering missiles, even if the leader is leader after leader. So US understood that it cannot win the war with Iran, and it has to maintain a image of invincibility, but that is long gone because of all these three reasons. So what happens is countries will no longer fear the US. As you see in the recent tariff wars, all the countries, they were willing to talk to Trump, try to make him see reason and everything, but that will change. They will no longer fear the US. Like countries like India, countries like Russia and China were actually not fearful of India, but of US. But it will change, further empower them, right? And they have important friends. Like Iran is an ally of Russia and China, yeah, also an ally of India. But India is, why I'm pointing out towards India is India actually stood up to Trump during when Trump claimed that he had stopped the war in Pakistan and India. India said US had nothing to do with that, and that took hurt Trump. And then the whole tariff situation, it was a little bit hostile towards India. But then that's all a different issue. Now India, Russia, China, even the Middle East will not fear US. They will fear, at least they will fear US less than they fear Iran. Like, they know Iran is a major power in their area. Iran is capable of damaging their critical infrastructure, so they will fear Iran more. So this image of invincibility is completely lost for America. Like, other countries are also going to get emboldened by it. They are going to form new alliances, new tactics to deal with America, and that is completely going to change the dynamics of the world. So I hope you understood this. I think the Japan point makes sense, how these countries are run, and how certain countries which are affected by the war are actually a great shareholders of US markets, how the dollar alternative is going to kick off, and it's going to terribly damage the standing of the dollar, how alliances are going to change and shape for the better and not become completely American centric. And then the image of invincibility is what is accumulation of that, and that is going to change the future for Americans. We'll meet in the next video. um, mm, Currently uh, monitoring the US Iran war, and I thought this could be helpful for everyone who wants to understand what is actually going on. So thank you, and if you could please subscribe to the channel, it would really help me. And see you in the next video. Thank you, guys.